Okay, what's up, everybody? This is Luke Stokes, and I am with my oldest two kids. This is Aria.
The two little munchkins.
And this is Devin. And
Hello.
we just read through the EdenOS Peace Treaty. And I actually just got to watch an induction video. So we actually, Max and Rob, myself, just brought in Sandwich into EdenOS. So I was describing the whole point of EdenOS is like to fix governance, to make it so that we have a mechanism for coming to an agreement with a group of people of how we do things, like, you know, eventually even things that government does right now, like having clean water and having sewage that works and all this stuff. And so the big important thing about EdenOS is testing out these governance models so that these two guys can live in a better world. Like, we want to create a world that we all want to live in. And so that's why I think it matters to them, because it's got to be a system that they think is going to work. And so I kind of want to do something historic and invite the first two kids to be part of EdenOS. I'm also trying to hack the system a little bit, because then I would have my two witnesses and I could basically just invite whoever.
Well, to make it so that you're not going to totally have to, you're going to tell me who you want to vote in, because I'm not just going to vote in anyone you want.
I completely agree. I told you guys this earlier as we were talking through the peace treaty. I was like, you guys would make your own decision. So I was explaining to them the election process as well. And if they, you know, got randomized in a group of like 10 or 12 people and they started debating about, you know, who should represent them, I think their views would matter. Like, it would be like, hey, we've never heard from a kid. Like, does this make sense? Is this something that, you know, that they want? Alexa apparently wants to join our conversation. No, that was a reminder. So anyway, so I was thinking, like, it's actually kind of interesting because, you know, their views might matter, because you don't hear necessarily from smart kids who are like involved in they mint their own NFTs. And so they're going to give input on usability and stuff like that. But I made it a point, just to your point, Devin, like, it's not going to be just go along with what Dad says. Like, you're going to be representing. Of course not. You're going to represent yourself and bring a unique perspective. So we read the peace treaty. Do you guys understand it?
Yes.
All right. So the reason I'm recording this video and putting it out there, because if I want to get feedback on whether or not this is a good idea. Some people are like, oh my gosh, Eden is too serious. You shouldn't have kids involved. I don't know that I'm okay with that. So I'm going to put it out on Twitter and find out what you think. And if I can find two witnesses that think this is a cool idea, we might make history together and have you two kids be the first kids to be in the system. Because most, you know, government-based systems are like, you have to be 13 or you have to be 18 and all this other stuff, and it's totally arbitrary. It has nothing to do with their level of intelligence and awareness, their level of education, and their involvement in the community. And so you guys, again, you've minted your own NFTs, you've made like hundreds of dollars doing NFTs, you've listened to your dad talk about blockchain forever, and I think you bring a unique perspective. So I think you could add value to the community in a way that the traditional governance systems wouldn't allow, which I think, again, is another cool thing about it. So what do you guys all think about all this craziness? Am I silly?
I mean, I think it's really cool, especially if a kid's point of view is really important, because the future, like, they're going to be the adults in this, so it'll be important for them as well.
Absolutely.
I think that maybe with a kid getting involved in this, that it's going to be listening to really smart people just talking, so then they'll be like, these are the smart things to do. And so then by the time they are older, they'll know these are the super smart things to do.
I think that's a fantastic idea. Because you guys know that I did like a 64-person test run of this, and it was only four. Yeah, so it was only 4 people. There was different groups of 4 people, so it was 16 groups of 4, and I learned so much just in those meetings, hearing from the people and learning from them. So I completely agree. I think it'd be a great process of teaching the next generation about governance. Like, how do we teach them how to do things right and come to a consensus and agree on, as a community, how to spend funds, how to focus attention, all that cool stuff. So I'm excited about this. I'm going to put this out there. Actually, it's now 4 minutes long video. It's not going to fit on Twitter. So I'll put it up on YouTube and we will share it out there and we'll get opinions. I've got my no masters, no slave, and no
mirrored.
slaves. It is mirrored. No masters, no slaves shirt on at the moment. And that's what I feel about. I think we can build. I think blockchains are tools for nonviolent global governance and consensus that we can use to create a world we all want to live in. And you guys, just like you perfectly said, this is for you guys. Like, if we can't build something better that you guys are excited about, then what's the point, right?
Exactly.
So All right. Any last words? Any thoughts? Any thoughts on the peace treaty? So we read through that. You guys understood it. It's pretty straightforward, right? You know, all the different percentages and how many people and like the board and all that. So you guys, any other questions or thoughts on that? You guys get it?
I'm also thinking that this was going to be a much cheaper way to learn about governance than going to law school.
Yes.
Because that costs hundreds of thousands.
Yes. And so, and the crazy thing about a lot of the lawyers is, and again, shout out to my lawyer friends, not hating on you, but a lot of the laws and the systems are designed to basically keep those in power and create loopholes so those who have access to, you know, government and those who are, you know, using those systems to stay in power. And so I like this process is much more simple. Instead of all these laws to be like, don't do this and don't do that, don't do this. It's literally just, if you agree and you get elected by the community, you sign the multi-sig on the blockchain or not. And so the money transfers to the person or not. And it's super simple. So instead of like preventing all these crimes, like worrying about all these crimes that might happen or having all these laws to tell people you can't do this and you can't do that and having it all complicated, like hundreds of thousands of dollars for law school, it's just super simple. It's like, here's the rules. If you agree, you sign it or not. And the money transfers or it doesn't. So totally agree. Much better system than the traditional legal structure that is kind of broken, frankly. So any other last thoughts?
We're good.
Aria and Devin, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to put this out there and get some feedback. We may find people are like, yeah, I don't know about kids yet. Let's prove it out first before we bring in kids. And
I mean, that's certainly a wise decision.
it is. And at the same time, what we're doing is an experiment. EdenOS is an experiment. We're trying something new.
Yes.
And if it doesn't work for the kids, then I don't know that it's complete yet, right? So one way we can know is to try it out and bring you guys in and see the first selection. Like if you can add value. And another thing I wanted to just comment on real quick, because I'm actually thinking about more people I want to bring into Eden. They're not necessarily EOS people. Like in some cases, I'm going to have to onboard them to EOS to bring them in. And the reason I want them involved is they're very conscious, amazing people that are doing all kinds of really cool things. And they want better governance systems. They want better ways to do their startups. They want better ways to do their regenerative gaming platforms. They want better ways to do, you know, all kinds of stuff. And that is the other third munchkin over there. And so it's important that we build systems that can work outside of just the kind of blockchain nerds, right? Like the crypto people that are into it right now. Like, and so I'm really excited about EdenOS as a mechanism for governance. And therefore, I want people that are not in blockchain right now. I want people that are, you know, looking for governance solutions in their day-to-day lives, but are really amazing people. So even if they're not going to be elected during the political playoffs, they'll be really good voices of non-blockchain, non-technical people to evaluate the proposals. Like I think we need voters, essentially. We need really awesome voters, not just people who are going to be leaders and builders as well. So I'm going to be inviting people that aren't necessarily blockchain EOS people, and I think that's going to help our community be even stronger.
In short, you need good people to decide who the person that gets
yes,
power
absolutely
is.
Absolutely. If we just stick within our own community, we're only going to get perspectives from our community, and I think we need people outside of our community.
Steering it.
Yeah. So we need people outside of it, so it's more broad understanding of like solving problems and having a more collective, like, did this work or not? Because again, this is a test. We want to find out if it works. So, all right, we've rambled on long enough. Thank you guys for coming on and doing this. I'm going to put it out there and I'll let you know how it goes.
Happy to help.
All right.
Yeah.
Peace.
Bye.